What's up, my Yugi bros? I'm your host, the one, the only, the RJB0. Welcome to Yugioh and Business Casual. This week on the competitive spirit, I have a question for you. That question is, when you are playing, who is your opponent? You're right that that's a trick question. The answer is you. So what do I mean when I say that you are your own opponent in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, if you think about the person in front of you at the table, when you're in a game, at an event, do they want you to fail? They'd like to win the game, but they would also ideally like you to be playing at your best. It doesn't do them any good to win against a failing player in comparison to a winning player. As long as they're succeeding, they're fine if you're doing the best that you can be doing. In fact, your opponent isn't even the person who is directly responsible for you doing poorly at an event if you're doing poorly. The thing that is responsible for your success or lack thereof is your own skill at playing and your skill at deck building. And so the person in front of you at the table is not your enemy. They aren't somebody who you wish failure upon. You only wish success upon yourself. And this means that your only real opponent when you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Is yourself, is your own skill. And it's important to think this way for a couple of reasons. The number one reason is sportsmanship. If you are treating your opponent as your enemy, as somebody whom you hope fails, and somebody who is trying to bring you down, then you are going to be a lot saltier when you lose, you're going to be a lot gloatier when you win, and you're just going to treat them with less sportsmanship. That being said, if you're treating yourself as your own opponent, your own skills, your own limits as your opponent, then the person playing in front of you is your friend. And that not only improves your sportsmanship, but also makes the game a lot more fun. Your own well-wishing of another player not only makes the game more fun for you, but also improves the community, because you are more likely to want to be friends with a person, more likely to want to be friendly with a person if you're not thinking of them as your opponent. You are the only person holding you back, and so they aren't a person responsible for your failure, and that feels a lot better toward that person if that's the way that you're thinking. Now, it's also important for skill building, because if you're thinking like the only opponent you have are your limits and your own abilities, then you are more likely to focus on making them better instead of focusing on being salty about your opponents. A player who thinks of their own limits as being the only obstruction from their success is going to focus on removing those limits, are going to want to find out what those limits are going to be motivated to actually do the work it takes to succeed. So although it is counterintuitive, when you are in a competitive game, when you are at a competitive event, and when you are thinking about competitive play, the best way to think about it is to think of yourself as your own opponent. So that's a quick video on the competitive spirit. I hope you guys like it. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't, let me know why in the comment section below. Of course, subscribe for more decks discussion, analysis, and general Yu-Gi-Oh! Shenanigans. Thank you all for watching. I'm your host, the one, the only, the RJB0, and I gotta go meet First I gotta learn to talk, and then I have to go meet my girlfriend.